So the Bad Batch is over, and many people liked the show. Many people thought it was a good show. Many people liked the finale as well. I did like the show, but I thought the finale was lacking in a particular area. There were a lot of weird things that happened, a lot of lucky things that happened that let our heroes win. One example would be is how Omega was able to unlock basically Wrecker from the chains at the dashboard, and it seemed like Hemlock knew that she was there, but he basically waited for her to unlock Wrecker and unhook him from where he was laying, being held captive with Hunter and Crosshair, and then based on that, they were able to escape, and the whole finale was able to happen. But it seemed like Hemlock knew that she was in the room in the first place, so why would he let her wait to do that? But that's not the only thing about the finale that was bad. The thing we're talking about in this video is Crosshair and his hand. Crosshair, the whole season basically has been about how Crosshair's hand is messed up, how it's shaky. He can't shoot with his hand. It's been bad. He talked to the doctors and they said that it's actually not physical. I want to say it's something mental, but that's not exactly what they said. It's basically something that he has to overcome. It's something that happened to him, I guess mental. I guess we can use that word. It's mental, something that happened to him mentally, and he can't shoot correctly. And we all kind of wanted to know what happened. And many people thought it actually had something to do with Hemlock, because if you notice, Hemlock has a gloved hand. He has one ungloved hand, one normal hand, and he has one gloved hand. And every time he's talking, every time he gets even... I wouldn't just say talking. When he's normally talking, he's talking normally, he's talking fine. But when he's mad or angry or scared of Tarkin, scared of what's going to happen, just stressed in any way, when he gets stressed, he holds his hand with his normal hand. He holds his gloved hand, and we're thinking. I'm thinking that this has something to do with Crosshair. Crosshair, as I just said, she has a shaky hand, and Hemlock, he keeps holding his hand. So I don't know what happened. When they brought Hunter and Wrecker and Crosshair to basically be tortured in the finale, Hemlock tells Hunter, it was hard. Crosshair resisted as well, but we got to him. And it was like, okay, so what did you get to him? Because before this, his hand wasn't a problem. And then when he tried to escape in season 2, and eventually they basically gassed him to sleep, he was trying to shoot. And that's when we actually noticed there was something wrong with his hand. And we noticed before that he was being experimented on. So what did they do to his hand? Well, those clones that Hemlock released, that these like special clones that have special abilities, and one's a sniper, so maybe they took somehow, again, this is stupid, this is Star Wars, this is stupid stuff we're doing, but maybe somehow they took Crosshair's ability. It sounds stupid as I say it. They took Crosshair's ability to shoot, his accuracy, and they put it into one of these special clones in order for Hemlock to use. So they took like the best part of him and they put it into a clone. And I think that actually is what it is. Or they put it into somehow Hemlock. That's why he holds his hands. That's why it's gloved, because maybe it's not a real hand. I don't know. But it's really stupid, the whole idea of his hand being shaky. And not only that, the problem is they don't clear it up. They never explain it. So we're just kind of... And so they cut off his hand when he's getting attacked. They cut off his hand. And then they're like, "Oh, you got to be more careful with your shooting hand." That's what one of the clones says. The special clones, the special evil Dr. Hemlock clones. They're like, "You got to be more careful with your shooting hand." So we're like, "Oh, what does that mean? What is it? What's going on with this whole hand thing? What are the experiences they did to him?" Never answered. This is my problem with the finale. Never answered. That was never answered. And that was like the big thing about Crosshair. That was part of his whole arc, this show. And again, this is the final season. His whole arc. It was this season, his whole arc was, kind of becoming more soft, more in touch with Omega, becoming good, gaining trust. But physically, it was his hand and having shaky and bad aim, and his whole thing is about having good aim. That's what Crosshair's known for. So we expected an answer on this, and I guess Dave Filoni thinks, oh, he can keep it up to interpretation, whatever he thinks he's doing. It's stupid. You're finishing out a show, and many people like the finale. Again, I didn't because of this and a few other things, stupid plot things, like how Omega whole plan to escape is she basically took a screwdriver and she hit the wall with it, and basically the whole wall is made out of Legos, like little tiny Legos. And if you just take a screwdriver and you hit the wall, then the whole piece falls apart and the whole wall falls down. It was stupid, but mainly this Crosshair thing. Like, Crosshair's the coolest character in the Bad Batch, and we never got to see what happened. We never got to see the experiments that Hemlock was doing. And, I thought Hemlock was really interesting. They killed him off, and Dave made a point to make sure that Hemlock is dead because it's because of him, and because of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and because of The Rise of Skywalker. We're learning that when you get shot, when something that seems like it should kill you, like a lightsaber, when something like that happens, you might not actually be dead. You might actually be perfectly fine, perfectly living. To Reva, Rey, Reva, Kylo, Reva twice, Barriss Offee maybe, if she survived that stab, which she shouldn't. But basically, it seems like getting shot, getting stabbed with a lightsaber doesn't actually kill you. So Dave made a point to say Hemlock is dead. Like, they shot him like 25 times. I'm not even kidding. On the rain, when they were on the bridge, and Omega did this weird thing where somehow she got distance between them without him shooting her. Again, stupid. But somehow she did that. They shoot the handcuffs, and then they shoot him like 20 times. So Hemlock's dead. I thought he was cool. But I really wanted Hemlock to explain what's going on with Crosshair. There's so many unanswered questions, about this show. And I don't like how they ended it, because they just ended all happy. And it's like, okay, they got away. And the way they got away is so stupid. And again, I can go into all the reasons why it's stupid, such as, how they're observing these kids, these test subjects. And how when we saw it in the beginning, when Omega first went into the vault, you noticed that there was like 30 people watching over these kids to make sure they don't do anything stupid. But for some reason, it was only that one lady, that one doctor, because Dr. Carr was gone with Echo. So there was one doctor watching over all these kids. So when the one doctor goes down to go see the kids, there was nobody watching. So basically, while they're doing that, they take control of the robot. And again, there's one doctor that's observing all these kids. So basically, let's say they all just like started punching this lady or took her out. There's no one else to watch them, because if you looked up at the observation deck, there was no one else there. It's like, why is that? That's such a stupid plot hole. And again, another reason, like, these are small things that it seems, but if these things were different, or these things were normal, or how they should be, the whole show wouldn't have the whole episode wouldn't have happened. Such as the robot at the beginning. So basically, when the doctor comes down, the robot like stabs her. And how this happened is they're like, oh, robot, fix my game. And Omega takes the screwdriver, and we find out this screwdriver not only knocks down walls and puts them into Legos, the screwdriver can also reprogram a droid in like 10 seconds. 10 seconds. So she hits the droid, she opens up in the back, and you see all these parts. It's a robot. And they're like, oh, Omega, can you do this? And she's like, oh, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to figure it out. And then 10 seconds later, this robot is controlled by her, and it's now attacking the doctor. How did you program that? With a screwdriver. Again, with a screwdriver. Like, maybe the screwdriver opens up the back, but how did you, like, code that into the robot? It doesn't make sense when you think about it. A lot of plot holes that don't even make sense when you think about it for a couple seconds. Like, this whole show happened because, and then again, another one is the Zillo Beast. It's held under, it's held in, like, basically a huge pit. And it's covered by a laser shield, so the Zillo can't come up. And it's got these beams on it, like we saw in the Clone Wars, to make sure it doesn't attack. But there's a lever. All right, this is what I found. All you have to do is pull the lever, and the Zillo Beast is unlocked. And again, there's like all these levers. There's all these stations, and there's one lever. It wasn't labeled. And if you just pull that lever, the Zillo Beast comes out. So if anyone slipped and hit the lever, I just think it's stupid that all these things can happen. Just all these things, like, it's so easy. Just release a monster like this. It destroyed the entire base by just pulling one lever. You'd think there'd be some safety precautions. It's just a lot of, when I think of the finale, there were so many things that were unanswered, especially Crosshair, which is the point of this video, but also there's so many things, these little stupid things that happen just to get the show along, like the walls being made out of Legos, reprogram a droid in 10 seconds, only one person watching over the kids when earlier there was like 30 people. It really doesn't make sense. It's stupid and it kills the whole finale. It really took me out of the finale when I was watching it. It really took me out. Yeah, I didn't like, the ending, they're back on the planet where the Empire knows they are, right? So the Empire was already there. Empire knows they're there. And then they go back to that planet. Weird. I think it's weird. I think you would want to go somewhere else, but whatever. And then they end it. They're all happy. And then you jump forward and Omega's like, oh, Rebellion's looking for pilots. And I did like that because one thing I'm going to make another video on this, so I'll just touch on it lightly. Not all people who are Force sensitive have to become Jedi. So I like how Omega's going into the Rebellion, not as a Jedi, but as a fighter. Thought that was good. At the very end. But yeah, this was a very flawed finale. And especially people didn't like the first. I mean, people seem to like this finale and like how the show closed off. It's just a sweet show. And I have videos defending this show when people are hating it because I like the Bad Batch. It's a fun story. And because they set up all these little things, little important moments for the show, but not important in the galaxy. And I like that. This show doesn't have to change the galaxy. It just has to be a fun show. And there was things that should have been answered, not galaxy-wise, right? They answered galaxy-wide questions this finale, like, let's divert the funding to Project Stardust, which is a reference to Rogue One, reference to the Death Star. Like, I don't need to know that. All I need to know is about the Bad Batch. Answer the question about Crosshair's hand. Like, why are we not dealing with these things? So I think the show had so much potential, but it just kind of missed a lot of areas. I was very disappointed. Not very, but I was disappointed with this finale because I thought it was a good show. A lot of people just seem to like it, and they don't think about these things, like how if this didn't happen in this certain way, it couldn't the whole episode couldn't progress. And you could try to say that about everything, like, oh well, if this character didn't do this, the whole episode wouldn't have happened. But those are normal things, like, oh, if this character didn't, you could think of any show. But in the Bad Batch, it's like if the walls were made out of normal material and not Legos, this wouldn't have happened. If you couldn't reprogram a droid in 10 seconds into an attack droid, this wouldn't have happened. If there was more than one person watching the kids, this wouldn't have happened. So these little things led to the whole episode and the whole finale. These little stupid things made the whole episode. And then yeah, it just kind of ends briefly. And I like the Bad Batch, The beginning was like, oh, Omega's annoying. I only like Crosshair. I like other parts of the Bad Batch stink. But they really grew on me, and I don't know why they ended it here. With the show Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire, something that I like doing is that in one season, they can jump from so many different times. So when you're thinking about in Tales of the Jedi, it's like there's 6 episodes and 3 of them about one character, 3 of them about another character, but they don't all happen at the same time. They jump around. Even in the 3 episodes about one character, they happen at different times. So for the Bad Batch, I get that if you keep doing more and they keep defeating the Empire over and over again, it would be weird that we'd never heard of them, the original children, and I guess that makes sense. But why not get them back into the fight, after Return of the Jedi? You could have season 4 of the Bad Batch and have a time jump. I'm just throwing things out there. And again, one more gripe I had with the show is that, Omega's like, what do we do now? This is before she's older, and they were just a kid, like, just after this was over, and they go, what do we do now? And Hunter's like, well, every clone can do whatever they want now, but, like, we're just gonna chill out. And it basically seems like, I feel like they've had this conversation over and over again, like, oh, we could just chill out, and they're like, no, but we gotta be a part of it, we gotta do something about this. And it seems like that's why Echo led the Bad Batch, because he wanted to be part of something bigger. And then it seemed like Hunter and Wrecker and Crosshair basically said, we've, been our just little squad and we're just doing the running around, but, like, let's be a part of something. And normally that would have made sense. If you look at the show, if you didn't think of the original trilogy and you looked at this show, they would say, okay, they did this, they finished the show, they're going to join the rebellion because they want to help. I don't see, it just doesn't make sense that Hunter and Wrecker would not be a part of the rebellion. And it also doesn't make sense that Rex wasn't part of the rebellion, because the whole thing was like, okay, the Bad Batch, they're doing their little missions, even their little bounties, but Echo and Rex, they're trying to save the clones and save the galaxy and bring the rebellion back. And then like, and that we're talking about in this show, in the Bad Batch show, like Rex is he's part of the rebellion. And then 5 years later, he's in the middle of some random planet on a crawler with Wolf and Gregor just running around, eating, doing absolutely nothing, fishing in Star Wars Rebels. When Ahsoka finds them, when Ezra and Kanan finds them, they're just doing nothing. So how did Rex go from, you know what, I'm bigger than this, I'm part of the rebellion, to just ending up doing nothing on a random planet and then getting picked back up? It just doesn't make sense. I like the Bad Batch show. There's just so many things they could have fixed, and this shouldn't have been the finale. There should have been at least 2 more episodes, because this was too rushed. For 50 minutes, it was too rushed. It wasn't good. It didn't answer enough questions. So I am disappointed with the finale, but overall I like the show, and I might make a video specifically talking about Omega soon.